There's no way to take it back. So I embrace it and try to work with it. And the things that I did that were horrible, I try to pass that along to young kids.
Welcome to this episode. Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today we're going to talk about these rats, man. What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are all having a great day. We got a lot of great things planned for the future. We're just getting started. So, as you can see on the title, I'm going to fix it for you. Let me give a couple shout outs before we get started. Maureen, how are you? Thomas, Saudia, how are you? Pasquale, Pontiac, Wayne, what's going on? Love from Australia. Shout out to Australia. Paul, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining me this afternoon. We got a funny show for you guys today. So there was someone in the comments. Steve, what's good, man? Roy, there was someone in the comments. And they said, hey, can you turn down the sound on this certain thing? Because I wear my earphones and I listen at work. You see, you ask and you shall receive. Like there's ways to go about things and be respectful, you know? Some people are just disrespectful and they don't get when they ask for things. They don't get what they request. But if you're respectful, you will. And we got a lot of funny things to go over today. And I turned it down for you, my friend. Oh, the sound's not working on that one. But we'll get it. We'll get it back. Let's see here. See if this one works. We got a really funny show for you guys today. I've been working on this. Oh, the noise got messed up. Something's up with the noise. But look at this one. Captain Sausage. Today we're going to talk about Chief Suckums. Damn, 17 degrees down there in South Louisiana. That's insane, man. So today we're going to talk about Chief Suckums and Baseball Bat Johnny. And I have some major things on the horizon. You guys are going to be surprised at what I got coming.
Anyway, we had an area called the Dome. It was up in the park. It was something you would see out of kind of the movies.
I've been to that park. It's in Woodhaven, Queens. I've been to Woodhaven, Queens, and I went around the neighborhood and I asked them about the sheriff. It wasn't like it wasn't like he says. There were some people that do talk good about him, but not a lot. A lot of people didn't like him. They thought he was a bully. A lot of people still do think he's a bully. So anyway, let's go over this interview. Go check out Soft White Underbelly. Go subscribe. I don't want to discredit anyone who has content on here and that I use some of their content. Go subscribe to Soft White Underbelly and any other videos that I play. Go check them out. Go check out Tan Shades. There's a whole bunch of them. And I'll put the link in the description of this video. Pavel, how are you? Kev, what's going on, man? Paul. Let's get into it.
To us, it was normal because we're young kids growing up in that area. But as I'm growing up and I'm going in that area, you can basically go up to the dome and it was like a five and dime store of drugs, weapons, and anything that you wanted to, buy, they had it up there. So, locally to Jamaica Avenue was Kennedy Airport. So
I've been there. So I got out of the car and there's a stairway that goes up. It's like a stairway that goes up to this park, right? I think I have the video somewhere. I'll look for it. But you go up this stairway, it curves, goes to the side, goes up. It's like goes up this hill. And then some great interviews on Soft White Underbelly. Yeah. Wayne, how are you? Great show, Bill. Reality Report, how are you, man? Go check out the Reality Report. Raekwon, how are you? Damn, we got a lot of people in here. People are just pouring in. So it goes up, right? It comes out to this park, and it's just like a normal park. Trees and all that shit. There's a road that goes through it. And there's like a dome thing where people would do performances, and it's like a stage inside the park. I mean, it's nothing unusual. It's just a park. But he says that's where you would buy the guns and all this shit. I don't know about all that, but I've been to that park, and I've been to his neighborhood. I asked people about him. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Let's check it out.
was used as a hub for all of us to hijack trucks, give me up trucks, and all that swag would end up in our neighborhood. Sometimes sold in bulk, and then other times sold to individuals who will take it up into the dome, and we, buy it up there or sell it up there. And eventually, as I got older, it become me selling it up there and putting guys up there at different locations around the neighborhood selling drugs for me.
So yeah, man, that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. Why are these liars, these guys lying, saying that they changed their life and they're still bullies and they still act like they're these big tough guys like Joe Badass? Nah, man, no, all their credibility was gone when they testified, and they think they can change the narrative and somehow get their credibility or respect back. Nope, that's out. Once you testify and you work with the government, that's out. And remember, I'm not a gangster. I'm not in the mafia. I was never involved with that life. I don't like bullies, and I don't like people who claim they changed, but clearly they haven't. And I'm their opposition. I mean, if I don't come and tell you guys the exact truth about these people, who's going to do it?
There's no way to take it back. So I embrace it and try to work with it. And the things that I did that were horrible, I try to pass that along to young kids.
Now, why would you want to pass that along to young kids? And the way that they do it is they brag. They brag about what they did. Let's listen to Mr. Braggadocious.
To start off as a kid, I was a young boy that came from a family that just came from Albania. My father was born over in Albania, and it was a rough country, known for being at war since the Ottoman days. It was no money. It was a third world country, suppressed communism.
Oh, so you had it bad back then, huh, Johnny boy? You had it really bad in that third world country, right? His story changes so much. It's like whatever way the wind blows.
So when I came into, when I was born and my father came into the United States, married my mom, people really didn't know what Albania was. It wasn't like saying you're Italian or Greek or, another nationality that people really knew. Because the country was so closed down or locked down, you didn't have that many Albanians. So I grew up where my father believed in violence as a protection, not as a use to hurt people. He wanted to make sure that I could handle myself.
Oh, he didn't use it like you used it, right? To hurt people because you baseball batted over 100 people and you murdered all these people, right? You claim you did, but there is no evidence about all these people you murdered. You just say you did. I'm surprised you're even on the internet saying all this shit, Because if it was true, you'd be in prison. It's not true. That's why he's able to say, I baseball batted this one, that one. I killed this guy, this guy, this guy. He takes credit for things he never did. It's insane.
And not get bullied in the streets. Where he grew up in Rivington and Delancey, down in Manhattan, Lower East Side, was a tough neighborhood. That's the neighborhood where Vito Genovese was born and raised. And
here we go. Here we go with the bullshit. Yeah, he was bouncing on Lucky Luciano's knee, right?
Guys like that, where my father became friends with them, but on the outskirts, not a gangster. He wasn't out there killing. He was a gambler. He was a street guy. He played dice on the street and stickball and box.
Mikey, what's up, man? How are you? Thomas, thank you all for joining me this afternoon. Dean, how are you? Staxx A Light was on John English podcast recently with new and more lies. Oh, really? I might have to check that out. Go subscribe to James English. James English, huh? Where's he at? England? Don't worry, we're gonna put the truth out on these guys. Time to put the boot on their hip boot. Toro, how are you?
He knew all the gangsters, and he got very friendly with guys like Lucky Luciano's cousin, Blackie, Charlie Luciano, same name, and became one of his partners over the years.
Became one of his partners. Yeah, all right.
So these guys like El Greco, tough gangsters, killers, El Greco was the norm of people that I started seeing as a young boy, 3 and 4 and 5 years old. I was on their laps in a Bronx Den card game that my uncle was partners with Luciano, and Al Greco frequent, and it was basically the strong arm for them at that time. Guys like Handsome Jack, and these are some of the nicknames and guys that were my father's friends and partners in business and my uncles. So when I'm raised around them,
I don't believe you. Lies.
I got a good look at a diversity of real serious street guys that without them saying much, you start understanding they're very powerful. You start understanding their control in the city, not just that.
Listen, the street guys they were around are guys like this. Real street guys. Real powerhouses in the street, you know? Putting in mega work. These dudes are clowns. They were in protective custody in prison. They weren't. These guys put out a narrative that they were these supreme gangsters. They were not. This guy was friends with John Gotti Jr. for a few years. That's it. If that. He slept over his house. Like there was no, he was involved. He wants this to be the truth, but it's not. He wants to be a Sammy Gravano.
Bronx card game. And so as a kid, it was very natural for me to be and see violence, whether it was in my streets, whether it was around my father's friends, whether it was in a boxing gym.
Yeah, I believe that. Maybe he's seen some violence, but he wasn't committing it. Maybe he got into a few fights here and there. Maybe he baseball batted a couple people, like he says. But it wasn't hundreds. There's no possible way. I know one person, right? I know one person who baseball batted a guy, broke his arm, broke his leg, cracked his head, and he went to prison for it. So if you're baseball batting all these people, what happened? What is the aftermath? If you killed all these people, where the bodies at, John? Where the bodies at? Like, explain. I want you to explain. Explain 5 of them, and I'll never do another video about you again. But tell me what bothered you the most so I don't do it.
Whether it was in the basement, my father had us in the basement, me at 3, my brother at 4, and he'd put gloves on us and tell us to fight. And, you know, when you look back.
3 years old, fight. Okay, fight. Right.
People would say, well, your father, you know, they look at him in a hard way. I don't. I look at him in a loving way, because what he taught me was to survive the streets that I ended up living in. You know, people say, well, your father was nuts for what he taught you. He didn't teach you schooling.
Oh, Captain Lickadick. It's funny, man. Oh, shit. It's too funny.
My father taught me what he understood was the best way to survive. He did it out of love. He didn't do it out of trying to develop me to be into a gangster. He tried to develop me to be a pro ball player.
No, he tried to develop you into being not a rat. And it didn't work too well. It looks like he raised a rat, huh?
And at the same time, he developed me into a killing machine without realizing.
A killing machine. He developed him into a killing machine, guys. Do you believe this shit? Anyone? Does anyone believe this shit? He was a killing machine.
What he was doing to me. So I think the aggression.
Mr. Killing Machine here. Here, open this beer for me. He was killing beers. That's it.
Started with me just as a simple thing, riding a tricycle at 3 years old. And by the time I'm 4, I wasn't very coordinated, I guess, at those ages. I was very rough and tumble, and my brother was he was actually very graceful. So I would try to stay up with my older brother, which was very difficult because he was naturally graceful in sports and boxing. And I was very sloppy. And if somebody asked me to do something and go around a curve with my bike, I'd just go through it. I'd go through the bushes. I'd fall. And people would cringe, my aunts, my grandmother, and they would say, Johnny, stop riding that bicycle. And instead, I'd just keep getting up and getting on the bike, and I'd be all bruised up. I'd be bleeding everywhere. And my mother would plead with me, just don't ride a bike. You don't have to do what Jimmy does, your brother. Just do your own thing. So I was used to that blood, even riding a bicycle. I was used to the pain.
He says I'd hit it. Too funny, man.
And I started embracing it. The more that people said how tough I was, the more I played up to that. Even as a child, the more my father put me in the ring with my brother and he beat.
He's very sloppy with his lies. He's very sloppy. He does not know how to remember them. One lie combinates to another, and then he's trying to block that one with another lie. Kind of like Franchise does. Franchise is unraveling at the seams. You can see it.
Me up, the more I wanted to go in the ring and get beat up and show how tough I was. It wasn't necessarily about winning. It was about showing that I could take it. And as the years went on, I just got more aggressive. And I started running around the streets. And my friends were very, very aggressive guys. I come from a neighborhood where guys were getting locked up at 11, 12 years old, and all my friends were killers. And
11, 12 years old. All his friends were killers. The fuck?
I stabbing guys. They were in reform schools. They were in.
Listen, he's talking about Gotti Jr. Like, that's Gotti Jr.'s story. He was in a reform school. Then he gets into a fight at the bar. And then his dad puts him in the social club. He wants to be Junior so bad. But you're not. Bottom line, you're not Junior. You're not Sammy Gravano. You're trying to take on these roles. It's fucking weird, man.
Juvie, Spofford, drug rehabs at young ages. My friends were on a David Susskind show at 12 years old for violence and drugs. I wasn't really to that level at that time. So it was surprising for people to see as I kept aging that I was getting more and more violent. And I started slowly passing my friends as far as becoming that person that people really didn't think I was.
Mike, what's up, man? How you doing? Fat balled sperm cell, what's up? Tommy, how are you?
But what they didn't see was the training that went behind it.
All the training he did to become the Albanian Terminator. Bobo Comp, how are you?
At 3 years old, my father would have me down the basement doing 5 push-ups.
Do push-ups now. Make sure you do 5, at least 5. We're gonna put these gloves on and make your brother beat you up. Yeah, all right. He had him down there bench pressing 600 pounds when he's 3 years old.
At 5 years old, I was down a basement doing 25 and 30 push-ups a set. At 5 years old, I was running a couple of miles. I'd go to the track with my father, and I'd have to follow him while he was running.
He was doing 5-mile run when he was 5 years old. Okay, I believe that one.
Because he was a boxer. And I started running by 10 years old. I'm running 10 miles myself.
Okay. So it's a mile for every year you lived. Is that what you're saying? 10 miles. You were running 10 miles at 10 years old. Somehow, I don't believe you.
And I was in extremely good shape. So I was sitting in a boxing ring, Lost Battalion Hall, with some famous fighters later on. Was Jerry Cooney and different guys like that. David Sears, who fought Michael Spinks in the old days. I look at these guys, and these guys were top-ranked, up-and-coming pro fighters that I wanted to be just like them.
No, you taught them, right?
I wanted to be tough like them. I wanted to be an Al Greco as a gangster. So everybody that I surrounded myself with
He was 5 years old. Beep, beep. He's the road runner. 5 years old. He was doing 5 miles. Who believes that? 5 years old. He was running 5 miles. And by the time he was 10, he was running 10 miles. So it took you 5 years to get up to 10. Took you 5 years to get up 5 more miles. Somehow it's not making sense there, Chief.
tough guys one way or another, and street guys in my eyes. And you have my baseball coach, who was Fat Andy Ruggiano's son. So Fat Andy Ruggiano was a captain, the boss of our neighborhood that was part of Murder Inc. And
oh, the other Gambino family hitman, right? Ruggiano, Rat Ruggiano, the total disgrace, the father's disgrace. It is crazy because now he wants to be known as the Gambino hitman. Who believes that? Ruggiano was not involved like that. He was not. They didn't want drug addicts around. He didn't kill people. He set up one guy, and he's fixing it for you. Don't worry. He's going to fix it for you. Mr. Fixums, huh? Mr. Credibility here.
Lucky Luciano and Albert Anastasia was his guy. So Albert Anastasia straightened out Fat Andy Ruggiano, made him a made guy in 1954, I believe. This is my grandfather figure. This is my baseball coach's father. And this is a guy that starts really opening my eyes to the next level.
Yeah, and he's telling you everything he knows, right? Sure, we believe that.
Of becoming a killer. So by, I guess, about 12 years old, I'm playing baseball, and I'm using that bat to hit a ball. But then I start using that bat as favors to different gangsters, saying, hey, can you go pick up money for me here or there? And it's a slow transition before you realize you're going to use that bat and put it over someone's head when they don't pay.
Well, hey, I got a question, though. Hold on. How come in the other interview you said your friends were using the bat and you didn't start using the bat until you were like 19? You were like 18, 19, and then you used the bat. So all of a sudden now you're using a bat? It's just confusing. I'm just confused.
I believe I was 13.
Well, now you were 13, but how come in the other interview you were 18? You were 17, 18. Now you were 13?
I was working in Dick's Deli, and Louis Gaddy was a Lucchese guy, bookmaker, great guy, sharp dresser, another good role model as a gangster for me because he...
Hey, Mickey, how are you? If he came to collect from me, I'd laugh at it. I would too. I'd laugh in his face and shut the door. And then he would have his friend. He would just have his friend come down and have his friend come kick the door in for you. Mr. Weenie Face would come kick the door in for you. They're collecting either way. It doesn't matter. They're getting their money.
He was successful. You know, in the street world, there's a lot of bums, but the guys I happen to be around are all successful, big money guys, tough guys, and sharp guys with, you know, driving beautiful cars. Back in those days, were Lincoln and Caddy convertibles. And I started looking every time I turned around. The next kid's looking at that baseball player, that actor, and I'm looking at that next gangster. And that next gangster is always opening my eyes to a future in the street, not a petty street guy, but a guy that understood, hey, you can get out of this hood, but you have to be intelligent. You could be a killer or a tough guy, but you have to be intelligent. Any dummy can go put a bat across somebody's head, but you got to know when to do it. You got to know how to get away with it, and you have to have the balls to be able to do it alone, not with 10 guys and 5 guys. So I
not with 5 guys, burgers and fries. He would go right into the group, 10 guys, and start baseball batting everyone. He didn't need a weapon, you know. He didn't. He could do it with bare hands.
started understanding.
Lori, how are you? Matthew, forget about it. Bruno, what's going on, man? Scrumpy, Scrumpy, Lori.
And then going with 3 and 4 and 5 guys, that was a coward's move. But if you can go by yourself and do things, you can be very successful in this life. If you have one good friend, you can basically control the neighborhood.
And that was Gotti Jr.
But you need to be very violent. You have to be very slick. And you have to be very loyal to.
If you need a beer open, Johnny Boy will open your beer for you. Right here. If you need a beer open, and then if you're locked out of your house, Chief Suckums he'll get the door open for you. And then Ruggiano here, the Gambino family hitman, he'll fix it for you, you know?
To the door.
I did this to the door. I pushed the door in.
You ruined it.
You fucking ruined it.
The guys that you're working for and your bosses. And those days it became Fat Andy Ruggiano. And his children were my mentors, I guess, in the next level of the mob. So the problem with anything is when you get used to blood, when you get used to pain.
When you get used to blood, what the fuck is this guy talking about, man?
When you get used to.
I thought he said Roy DeMeo and them, they were psychopaths. They were serial killers. They didn't want people like that around. But he's used to the blood.
Putting a bat across someone's head, and there is no feeling about it because I'm used to being hurt. I'm used to bleeding. I'm used to having broken bones. I'm used to having a broken arm and taking my cast off and playing baseball because I was trained for this, to ignore the pain. So when I'm hitting somebody else, I don't think I'm really understanding at that age. They're not used to this. They didn't sign up for this like I was brought up as a kid to become a killer. They were just regular people that went in a little over their head. They weren't training for this. They didn't expect to get a bat across their head because they're degenerate gamblers, or they're somebody that doesn't pay, or they're a con artist. They always think they're not going to be the victim. And I was trained to make the next guy the victim. So when most.
He was trained since a kid to be a killer. You guys have no idea, no clue what these guys have been through. And then him, the Gambino fixer, he will come through straight, take care of business.
Talking, they really aren't going to take it to that level. You'll hear a guy say, well, I'll put a bat across his head. It sounds good in front of a group of people, but they're not really going to do it.
Sounds really good, huh, Johnny boy? How about you take this guy up on his offer, the guy in Queens that wants to box you? Just show everybody that you're a man and you'll stand on business and box this guy. What's the problem? It's for the kids. Like, I don't understand. You're this big Gambino, tough guy, hitman. Then go and box this guy and show everybody that you're not what people think you are.
And as a young guy, I happened to be around guys like Al Greco. When he said he's going to put a bat across your head, he was doing it. 90% of these guys aren't about that, really. People don't understand that. They think, but you got a handful of these guys like Roy DeMeo's of the gangster world, or Fat Andy with Murder Inc. and Albert Anastasia. These guys were real gangsters. These are real killers. These guys.
You weren't.
Guys are guys that were very quiet, didn't say much, but their reaction and their action was violence. So as I started adapting to all my teachers, because that's really what they are, they're professors of a world that, especially back in the day, was very low key and quiet.
This guy's living a fantasy. He's in his own fantasy world. I swear.
Except for the violent part. They taught me in those days to be very aggressive with your violence. And sometimes they taught me to do it publicly. So when I hurt somebody, a lot.
Oh, like Paul, like when you guys took out Paul and them. Hey, we got some shit floating in the barrel. We got some shit. We got a shit bag in the barrel. Handle business. AZ suction. Go suck a fat one. Punk bitch. Damn, people are really spiteful, huh? Fuck them. Now you can watch and not comment. Now make another account, you pussy.
A lot of times I did it purposely where crowds would see and they'd understand. This face, remember it. That's my wallet.
Remember this face. Remember this face, AZ suction.
This is the way I'm going to make money. This is the way I'm going to control this neighborhood. This is the way I'm going to control the drug trade and any other thing I want to control. So when somebody did something or disrespected me, my organization, my guys, I was very violent. I would be swift about it. I'd walk into a nightclub.
Flush the rat-loving pieces of shit. You guys already know what it is over here. We don't pretend to be something we're not over here. Like Mr. AB. These guys are out of their mind, man.
And example, I walked into a nightclub called Kickers on Metropolitan Avenue back in the 80s. And we warned the bouncers that from now on, you guys are going to be unionized.
The bouncers. So he goes into a club, right? And he's warning the bouncers. You guys are going to be unionized or else.
There is no more going to work without going through us. If you go to work on Friday, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get shot. And I guess, on their behalf, people talk, so they didn't take it serious, I guess. They don't understand the mob world. They didn't understand me. They didn't know me the way I know me, obviously. And they didn't think that they just thought I was just another gangster, I guess, talking and giving an order. And they believed that their guy would protect them. And I warned the guy, when I shoot you, when I hurt you, if you come to work, it doesn't matter what your guy says. You're already shot, you're already hurt, you're already killed. Don't go to work.
You're already killed. Don't go to work. I killed you. Don't go to work, okay? These guys are nuts, man. Pure entertainment.
So I get a phone call, and I'm home sleeping, and I hear they're all at work. It's Friday night. The music's pumping. Everybody's drinking. And I call my buddy, and I said to him, come pick me up. He said, what are you going to do? I said, don't worry, just come pick me up. He picks me up. It's midnight, about that. We get in the car. I load up a couple of guns. I got 2 guns. I used to like to take a revolver always. I didn't like automatics because an automatic jammed on me once before. So I always had that belief that the automatic.
Hey, we got 61 people in the house. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you guys don't know, 101,000 people watched my show in the last 2 days. So things are really starting to get amped up. We're going to be bringing this stuff to another level. I got some major things in the works, and you guys are all here along for the ride.
There could be a problem. Make sure you carry 2 guns. I actually carried 3. I would carry an automatic, so I had the extra shots. I'd carry a revolver, and I would carry a 2.
Wait. He just said he didn't like to carry automatics because they jam. And then he says in the same sentence, he liked to carry an automatic. So, can anyone explain that to me?
Derringer in a jock strap. Could be a problem. Make sure you carry 2 guns. I actually carried 3. I would.
Oh wait, no, I actually carried 3, not 2.
Carry an automatic, so I had the extra shots. I'd carry a revolver, and I would carry a 2-shot Derringer in a jock strap in case I run out of anything. I have something left that people don't know I have on me. And we get in the car, we pull up. I tell them to circle the block. There's a gas station around the corner from Kickers, and the club changed names several times. They had a couple different names, but the same owners and the people, and they were around gangsters also. They were mobsters. I pull up. I tell him, just stay in the parking lot. And he's a big guy, tough guy, Irish guy. And he says to me, no, I'm going to come with you. I said, I don't need you. So when we pull up to the bar, one of the head managers is there. And as soon as I see him, I says, come here. And he goes, John, he's trying to talk.
He kept one in his ass. Let's hear this movie scene. You guys ready for this one?
And my guy, without asking me, went to swing at him. But when he went to swing at him, I already shot him in the stomach. And so he looks at me with like a half smile. He goes, oh, I thought I had him with a right hand. And, people don't understand there's a dry sense of humor what we do because we do it all the time. This is not something that we do once in a while. In my case, I did it on a regular basis. After I shot him, one of the bouncers came out to react to the shooting, not realizing he's going to get shot. And him, I just hip shot. I believe I shot him in the right or left. It doesn't matter. I hit him in one of his sides.
It doesn't matter. Okay, Johnny.
Sides of his hip, and then he went down. I shot him in the leg. And then I continued, and I went inside the bar.
Okay. All right. So he shot 2 bouncers, and then he continued. He started going inside the bar, and then what happened next, Johnny boy?
And I found 2 other guys that I warned not to come in. One was some sort of manager, and he went to hit me, and my guy went to hit him, and then I shot him. And after I finished with him, I looked for one of the owners who went up.
All right, so listen, that's 1, 2, 3. He's got what, 4 or 5 shots he already took, right? He's got a revolver, right? That's what he said.
The back and jumped out a side window. And then I caught the 4th guy by the back door, and I shot him. I think he got shot up in the chest area somewhere. And then when he went down, I shot him again.
So how did your gun hold more bullets than it's supposed to? I'm just curious. You got a revolver, right? You shot the first guy, boom, boom. You shot the second guy, boom, boom. You shot the other guy, boom, boom. Where'd all these extra bullets come from? You just load in the gun casually, the revolver. Just curious. Like, no, for real.
I shot the 4 guys, and my guy started to run out the door. And I said, whoa, where you going? Now, the whole club, you can imagine, is in disarray. Everybody's running out. Everybody's screaming.
His guy tried to run out of the club, and he shot him, too.
The lights come on. The DJ music stops. And I put the gun, and I pointed at one of the bartenders. I said, don't go nowhere. And I said, make me a drink.
He said, make me a drink. This guy's insane, man.
At that time, I was drinking vodka and cranberry. Now I switch it up to martinis. But at
Who believes this? That was on the news.
that time, it was vodka and cranberry.
He ordered a drink, vodka and cranberry.
And he looked at me like I was insane. And I says, relax. I said, this has nothing to do with you. I ain't going to shoot you. Get me the drink. And I told my friend, sit down. So he's looking at me. He didn't understand. He goes, John, we're going to get pinched.
So he goes, he shoots the bar. He shoots all the bouncers, right? He makes his way into the club. He shoots at all these people. And then he puts a gun right to the bartender. Make me a drink. He tells his friend, sit down. This is great.
Let's go. I go, relax, sit down. I says, I got to make a statement here. And I wanted them to know that I came there and I'm not worried about anybody, not even law enforcement. And I had that drink and I says, okay. And I didn't gulp it. I sipped it. I stayed. We walked.
He didn't gulp it. He sipped it and he stayed. He stayed, guys. He casually had his drink, you know.
Out the door, I put the gun back under my shirt. And as we come there, the police are all pulling up. And you got probably 10 police cars there, ambulance, fire engines, EMS, everybody's there. And
no one challenged him, nothing, right? They just let him do all this and he's walking out. There's all these cop cars and ambulances. And he just casually walked right by them all. Let's hear this. Let's hear how he got away with it.
As we're walking out, we just point inside, like the shooters are still inside. Nobody did nothing to us. We went around the corner, we got in our car, and we went back to our social club in Ozone Park.
How many people believe that story? He just walked outside. He pointed at the thing. He just kept walking. Hey, that's believable, right? You guys believe that? This guy's the Rambo, real life Rambo. He's taking scenes from a movie. What is it? The Black Station movies back in their own. He's making these scenes from a movie his own.
And I reported back that this was taken care of.
It was taken care of. Don't worry. There's going to be no blowback. He just caused mayhem and madness in a bar. And don't worry, it was taken care of. There's going to be no issues anymore.
Now, I think they got the message now that the bouncers work through us or they don't work. And after that,
no one testified, right? Against you or anybody else, right? They all kept their mouths shut after all of this. Yeah.
When I go into club after club, naturally they're all on board. So it always takes, for some reason, it takes these guys to understand they're not in this world and to really get it when they see that guys are getting shot, when they see guys are getting killed. When someone comes looking for me for revenge and we jump in a car, and when we jump in that car, we're not jumping in that car talking. I'm telling guys, when they jump in that car with me, you're the driver, you're the backup car. I'm going to go kill this guy. I'm not just talking. So I tell them, set up a car, steal a car, get me guns. And I put things in motion. And back in those days, Larry Cuccarelli was one of the guys with me. He's dead. He died of a heart attack. But
Sure he did. Yeah. He's the one that can back up everything you're saying, right? Who was the guy that was with you? I'm just curious. I'm just curious who the guy was that was with you while you went into this club and massacred everybody. And no, there's nothing happened to you.
His family's around. And I said, jump in the car with me. He goes, John, I go, just get me the guns. So we get in the car, and one of the guys who was looking for me for another incident, he's driving on the Interborough Parkway heading towards Brooklyn. I says, when we come around the turn, it's a very slick turn, coming from Woodhaven going into Brooklyn. I believe it's the first exit towards Pennsylvania Avenue. I says, get next to him. And I start shooting. And I hit him in the head. He dies a couple weeks later in the hospital.
Okay.
The reality of what I do doesn't really hit these guys because they're not still, they're guys, they're friends of mine, they're guys involved with me, but they're not killers. But when I tell them afterwards, where are we going to go? I says, let's dump these guns. Let's dump this car, burn it. And I tell her, you go burn this car. You go dump the guns in the ocean. And you guys meet me. Go, where are we going to meet? I says, we'll go meet at the diner. We'll go get something to eat. That's the reality for them. And they understand, like, this is obviously nothing to me. I'm going to kill. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to be successful on the street. And by the more people that I make them understand that I'm on a different level of violence and I'm willing to put my life on a different level and I'm willing to put myself to kill somebody, to be killed, and you put yourself in those dangerous situations, you're also going to get stabbed up like I did.
You're also going to take care of business. Don't worry. We got a lot more for the next show. There's a lot of facts that are coming out in these episodes, and I hope you guys are listening close because he always tells the truth. He's not a bully, and he's not lying at all. This is total facts, straight from the horse's mouth. I hope you guys like this content because there's a lot more of it on the way. Mr. Sammy Aleto is going to tell us how he rose to the top of the Gambino family. He was the guy that was running the family, not John Gotti. John Gotti was just the front boss, but John A-Light was the real boss. I believe Lucky Luciano put him in that position. So, hey, if you guys like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you want to help me, I'm working on getting a new laptop so I can bring you some more content. You can hit up my Cash App at Chattin with Staxx. Every single dollar helps. It goes a long way. I help out the community. I've changed my life. I'm not a gangster. This is purely satire. This is purely for entertainment purposes only. I appreciate all you guys, and I'll see you soon. And remember, don't be a bitch.